Welcome everybody to 52 Peaks, the show where each week we take a new car up Pikes Peak in Assetto Corsa. This week, it's our starting week, so we're going to be doing something simple, easing our way into it. We got the Toyota GT-86, which I'm going to call a BRZ or FRS interchangeably throughout this because my brain cannot keep them straight. Today we're going to be doing pretty much just a simple tour of the track. We're not going to be attacking it too hard, just trying to get to the top, and I'll be explaining to you a little bit more about what this series is. So let's get right into it. All right, 3, 2, 1. Probably could have given it a little bit more gas, but that is all right. So, this idea came to me because, actually, from back in the day watching Jimmy Broadbent's videos of him doing the Nürburgring with all sorts of different cars and just learning the Nürburgring. And Pikes Peak has always been one of those tracks that I've really wanted to learn. Well, not really tracks, but races. For those who don't know, Pikes Peak Hill Climb is one of the oldest racing series, or races, annual races in the world. Don't take my word exactly for that. There's plenty of good videos on the history of Pikes Peak out there that I do suggest you go watch. I've been obsessed with this race ever since I was a kid. Gran Turismo 2, I don't know, do not remember if it was a Gran Turismo 1 or not. Maybe it was 1. One of the Gran Turismos, whichever one featured Pikes Peak. You know, you get the Assetto Pikes Peak cars and stuff, all the Suzuki Pikes Peak cars. I had a Toyota Tacoma Pikes Peak version Hot Wheels when I was a kid. So there was this reoccurring thing of Pikes Peak. And then, not because of Pikes Peak, but for other reasons, I ended up moving to Colorado and got to go to the race multiple times. We've been out there quite a few times. If you listen to the podcast, we've had our pre-race podcast where me and the guys went up there. We've camped up here on the mountain before the race. Just, you know, Pikes Peak has been a thing, a reoccurring thing. So I wanted to really learn this track. I'm going to keep calling it a track. It's a road, but you know what I mean. Because, I mean, ideally, one day I get to race up here, but more than likely that's not going to happen. It's just one of the most, outside of the Nürburgring, I would have to say this is probably the most challenging. I don't even know if I want to say challenging. It offers a very similar thing to what the Nürburgring offers as far as it feeling like a real road, because it is a real road. And the technicality, the distance, the danger. In this BRZ, see, I did it. In this GT-86, I'm going to call it the BRZ. I like BRZ better. Of course, we do not have the speed to really cause much of a ruckus. This is just a nice Sunday drive. Part of the reason for that is the track we are using. We are using the newer version of Pikes Peak for Assetto Corsa. There was the old one, the Simtrax version, which I used quite a bit. A little more basic, but perfectly suitable track. And then came along this version, which is a port of the dirt rally course from, the Pikes Peak course from Dirt Rally. And man, does it look good. Of course, we got all the custom shader packs and everything going on. And it is a good looking track. I like this one more, not just because it is good looking. That does help, you know, it is nice to have some nice graphics. But I like it because of the surface variations. You got things like the ditch here that you can use, but also just the roughness of the road. Pikes Peak Hill Climb is dangerous not just because it is, you know, a mountain road that you can go careening off of at a bajillion miles an hour, but because it is also very rough. You know, this is a real road on a mountain here in Colorado, and we get lots of snow, we get freezing temperatures, we get all sorts of things that causes the road to buckle and have potholes and be rough. So I love that surface variation. You know, you can see the bumps coming through here. They're not as pronounced in this GT-86 because the suspension's fairly soft. We're not going that fast. It's not as dangerous. Okay, this corner sometimes gets me, especially with the sunlight in your eyes there. Randy Probst could tell you about that corner. He took a Tesla off there one time. But yeah, this is that version of that track. We have done a couple different mods to it as well. These trees are an add-on package that make the trees look better, and then the only thing I liked better about the Simtrax version was actually super easy to fix on this one, was the elevation. Oh, that was a bad way to take that corner. As you might be noticing, this little FRS is having a heck of a time getting up this mountain. She is struggling to reach 60, and if I probably shouldn't pay too close attention to the speedometer, I'll run into some hay bales. That's because I set the elevation, base elevation, to the starting line elevation, and with custom shaders pack and the other mods that are installed, it actually takes that into account. It takes elevation into account, and it's worse for naturally aspirated motors than it is turbo engines, and man, this thing is struggling. I kind of wish there was I bet you there's probably a meter somewhere in this game or add-on that you can get that would show you how much horsepower the car is currently making, because man, I don't think it is much. I have the time of day set to 9 a.m. right now, and the temperature set a little bit lower because I wanted semi-realistic race day temperatures. They always, when the race happens here in Colorado, it is usually pretty cold out. It is oftentimes still snow on the ground. So I didn't go full winter mode. We went for like an ideal year where it's a little warm. But I still think I set it to like 65 degrees out. I don't know if the temperature decreases with elevation, but you know, we can only ask so much out of a 20-year-old sim. How old is Assetto Corsa? Man, it is getting up there in age. The fact that it is kept alive through modders and stuff like this, and it still looks this good with mods, it's amazing. You just make your own racing game. One thing I will say about setting the time to 9 o'clock though is you now not only have to deal with, you know, the sight of, as we get above tree line here, not being able to see where you're going, but you have glare on the windshield, shadows, that you can't see the track very well. Now, these are the conditions I'm probably going to stick with. I want to stay consistent because I want a leaderboard. Let's do a leaderboard, all different cars. Oh, I always think that corner is a hairpin, and there's one coming up here that I think is this corner that's actually a hairpin, and I screw that up too. So hopefully we can get to the top without crashing. The top section is definitely my least familiar section. I will say I like all of the mods, visual mods. Oh, yep, this is the one. But the glare on the windshield's a little frustrating, because if I was in a race car, I cleaned my windshield. Like, why is this windshield that dirty? I don't understand it. So, maybe there's a setting I could change there for windscreen visibility. I'll check into that, because it's silly. Guys, if you go out in your race car, clean your damn windshield. Oh yeah, there's a big bump. Like I said, not too bad in the BRZ. This thing, it's struggling so hard. I mean, I'm lugging it pretty good. Probably should have went down to first there. Definitely got to keep the RPMs up. But like I said, this is our touring lap. We're going to do some hot laps in the future weeks. This is just to set a time. And the BRZ is also going to be our go-to, definitely got to get down to first, our go-to benchmark as I learn this track, as I get better at it. I'll keep coming back to the BRZ. This is a Kuno's car, space game car, nothing extraordinary, nothing modded. we'll come back to this car and see how we've improved over time. Hopefully we improve. I tend to have a bit of a reverse bell curve when I'm learning a track, where I go out and I'm actually pretty quick, and then I get progressively worse until I start improving again, and then, you know, everything starts to click. All right, coming up on Evo Corner. Evo Corner is not that scary when you're doing 50 miles an hour. And I'm trying to remember, there's the hairpin. See, this top section always screws me up. That's one reason we're using a car that's currently making 30 horsepower. I do love this track though. It's just so technical up here. Up in, I think this is Devil's Playground area. Oh my God, did you see that? Wow, come on, BRZ, holy crap, we are struggling. There we go. There is a reason Pikes Peak race cars, even back in the day, were making 1,000 horsepower or something ridiculous. Maybe not quite that much, but it's because you get up here. This race ends at 14,000 feet. I don't know the calculation off the top of my head, but I think your engine's making significantly, okay, come on, worse, significantly less horsepower. I would actually not be surprised if this car is putting down about 40 horsepower to the wheels right now. Which means our time is not going to be good. But we are getting semi-close to the end-ish. We got a little ways to go. This section of this road just feels almost surreal. It's like you're racing on Mars. But this is a real place on Earth, an hour away from where I am right now. It's kind of amazing. Let me know in the description what cars you want to see attack this mountain. For the first few episodes, I think I'm just going to stick to base Kunos cars to get a bit of a baseline before we go into some modded stuff. That will also give us a good baseline to see. I love mods, but one thing I don't like is sometimes people will make their hero cars a little bit too powerful, too grippy, and having some base cars to compare it to will help us suss out those shitty mods. Of course, we're gonna do some ridiculous shit too. There's a fucking T-Rex mod on Overtake, you know, so why would we not race a T-Rex up Pikes Peak? Gotta know how fast the T-Rex is. I can tell you this though, this FRS is not fast. Which will be a good indicator of how much I know the track, because it's gonna become very obvious, or I'm gonna have to be very smooth and attack these corners really hard to make up for the fact that we are not accelerating. This is ridiculous. Brakes? Who needs them? Just let off the gas. Oh man, look at that. You can't see anything. This race in real life is insane. There's a reason I'm kind of shocked it's still around. They did stop allowing motorcycles on there a few years ago after the last motorcycle rider died. They were like, can't do it. Insurance won't let us, which is silly in my opinion, but we'll get into that some other time. 13, almost 14 minutes already. We're about double the track record. But that's what happens when you make a 1/10 the horsepower. Heck, probably a 20th the horsepower of the record-breaking car. Around this corner, don't lose it, and across the finish line. Boom, 14-16. Is that good? Is that bad? For a BRZ? I don't know. I don't know if they've ever taken a stock BRZ up Pikes Peak at any of the races. I know Nissan likes to take some stock cars up there. Porsche likes to take some stock cars up there. I don't think Toyota's ever done it though. But yeah, 14-16, that is our first time on the leaderboard. But we're going to get some faster cars here. I think next time we're going to go with something considerably faster, but like I said, still a Kuno's car. So that's going to do it for episode 1 of 52 Peaks. Let me know what cars you want to see me take up this stupid mountain, and I will put them in the queue. Next week, something a little faster. But until then, peace.